This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, it is now 6:30 and I'll call this town council meeting to order. The first thing we'll do is the invocation with Kirk Wallen from Ocean Lakes Campground. Yes.
Will you bow with me as we pray together, please? We begin this meeting, O God, with a word of praise to you as the great and powerful God of all creation. As we are now at the peak of the hurricane season, we pray for all those in our nation whose lives have been devastated by storms. All the while, we're thankful that we've been spared in our area. Oh God, when we see your power and might in nature, we would echo the words of the psalmist who said, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth." When we consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon, the stars that you've set in place, what is mankind that you're mindful of us, weak human beings, that you care for us? And yet we know, Heavenly Father, that you do care for us because you've continued to show us your love in spite of our sinful human nature, in spite of our going astray like lost sheep. So I pray this evening as you bring us back to be the kind of people you want us all to be. Forgive our waywardness, our self-centeredness, our desire to put ourselves in the center of the universe, our personal and corporate sins that separate us from you. Oh God, as the smoke and the ash and the horror of that day in New York City 20 years ago blocked out temporarily the light of the sun, may our words, our attitudes, our actions never block out the light of love and truth and mercy that we need to show to people all around us. Truly, oh God, we would say again with the psalmist, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth." Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, there is no public hearing tonight, so the next thing is motions relating to the agenda.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Holder.
I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda tonight to interviews and swearing in our new party.
Okay, do I have a second to that? Second. Okay, and it's second. Any discussion before we vote? Ms. Scholes?
Yes.
Holder?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Drake?
Yes.
And myself is yes. So it's unanimous, 6-0. But that will be put on the agenda and we'll put it on the first thing under communication. The next thing is the minutes approval for August 24th, 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 24th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that before we vote? Ms. Scholes?
Yes.
Holder?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Drake?
Yes.
And myself is yes, so that passed 6-0 also. The next thing on the agenda is public comments, and these are public comments relating to agenda items only. So anybody who has a public comment, please feel free to step forward. Yes, ma'am, please state your name and address.
Lynn Legacy, 522 Avenue South. I was a little caught off guard by this temporarily suspending enforcement of certain ordinances on the agenda tonight. My feeling on that is that I don't think we should take it upon ourselves to suspend any ordinance just anytime we feel like it. It really has nothing to do with the drinking so much as it is just respecting those businesses in our town that pay for the brick and mortar. They pay all their licenses and fees. And that kind of an ordinance even if it's suspended temporarily, draws business from them. And I think they should be taken into consideration when doing this. I don't know where it's going to be held. It didn't really say, but it's on public property. So any public, if you wanted to suspend and make the event close to our town center. That's where our bread and butter is. Those people work hard every day. And I think they should be protected by not just suspending. And you know, it's the beer and wine that's going to bring some people to these events. The other thing was the Waccamaw Market holiday. It looked like to me, I don't know, but it was going to be set somewhere else in the community. I don't know exactly what the story is on it. I looked at it, but once again, if you set it up temporarily, and it's a good idea. We've had our farmers market and we've had our crafting markets, and holiday markets are great, but let's not take it away from our downtown. Let's put it in the public park over here next to Sundown, or put it in the sidewalks. Take it to our new First Avenue South streetscape. We've got to keep everything kind of cohesive here and help the people that are running their businesses every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy Hannon, 11th Avenue North. I'd like to address the Waccamaw Market Cooperative Holiday Market. It seems that we have different rules for different folks. And in Surfside, one of the things that I have discovered is that people don't like doing business in Surfside because A, they don't know when the rules change. B, they have different rules for different people, and nobody's treated the same. We have a group who has been doing a Discover Surfside market in the park, and they pay the town. Now we have the Waccamaw Market Cooperative who wants to come into town, wants us to pay them, and I say us because it's tax dollars. They want us to pay them $1,000 to come and do something that somebody else is doing for free, and they are paying, the other group is paying the town. The town, they are paying the town not only a fee to be here, everyone who works there buys a town business license, and everyone that works there pays a tax. But now we want to invite and warmly welcome a group that wants to come in here and have us pay them to come here. Why? Because it's my understanding that the people who are doing the market, we're going to be doing a holiday market as well. So why do we want to go out and seek ways to pay and spend money? That's the major question I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good evening. I'm Howard Barnard. I've been a resident of 119 North Ocean Boulevard for 36 years. My family moved here 36 years ago because we thought the police and fire and services were extraordinary. They've only gotten better. However, unfortunately, on the night of September 11th, in the 100 and 200 block of Seaside and Ocean Boulevard, vandals broke in to the majority of the cars. I had a convertible. The top was slashed in 4 places with nothing in the car stolen. There wasn't anything in there. But that's an expensive repair. As we all know, we all have probably large deductibles on our comprehensive. And again, I want to compliment Chief Hoffman and his crew. They're doing a great job. But I'd like to suggest that you give Chief Hoffman permission to talk to folks in Myrtle Beach about surveillance cameras, at least on those 2 streets. You already have the poles there, the electricity, and the fiber optics cable. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be an active system. It could be a passive one, i.e. they can go back and review the tapes and see who was responsible for the damage that was done. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your help.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Well, the next thing on the agenda, we're going to do the fire chief, swearing in of the fire chief. So if you'll step up. Give me a second, because I want to say a few words first. So just to let everybody know, this is our new fire chief. He's sworn in. And we did a very exhaustive search. You know, we put out the applications, we got the people in to do it. We basically had an interview panel with people. We had a fire chief from Conway, and we had another guy that is an ex-fire chief that from Homeland Security that came down and basically did the interviews. He was not only interviewed by the interview staff and the RHR and everything, but he was also interviewed by the firefighters. So it was rather extensive, and he's the gentleman we picked, and we're glad to have him. So if you'll come over here, I'd like to swear you in. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert L. Clemens,
I, Robert L. Clemens,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified to carry out the duties of fire chief
that I am duly qualified to carry out the duties of fire chief
for the town of Surfside Beach.
for the town of Surfside Beach.
I will, to the best of my ability,
I will, to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof with respect and dignity
discharge the duties thereof with respect and dignity
at all times.
at all times.
I will ever vigilant with regard to the safety of our firefighters
I will be ever vigilant with regard to the safety of our firefighters
and will serve the citizens of the town of Surfside Beach
and will serve the citizens of the town of Surfside Beach
with compassion and courage.
with compassion and courage.
I pledge to promote and protect the best interest
I pledge to promote and protect the best interest
of the town through fiscal responsibility,
of the town through fiscal responsibility,
honesty,
honesty,
integrity, and loyalty,
integrity, and loyalty,
and will uphold the laws of the Constitution
and will uphold the laws of the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the state of South Carolina,
the state of South Carolina,
and the town of Surfside Beach.
and the town of Surfside Beach.
Further, I accept this self-imposed and self-enforced
I further, I accept this self-imposed and self-enforced obligation
of my responsibility
of my responsibility
and make these promises solemnly,
and make these promises solemnly,
freely,
freely,
and upon my honor.
and upon my honor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
In witness thereof, I have unto set my hand this 14th day of September, 2021. I need you to sign 2 copies. You have to have double copies. So I'm going to come over here and shake your hand, get a picture, and I want you all to welcome our new fire chief.
That was a lot to try to remember. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all for sharing this moment with me. And I am so appreciative of everyone to be here. And really a shout out to a lot of my neighbors that are here from the Ocean Palms neighborhood that is here with me this evening. So thank you all for being here. It does mean a lot as we build a community in the Ocean Palms neighborhood. I stand before you this evening feeling both honored and blessed to have been chosen as the fire chief for the Surfside Beach Fire Department. The American Fire Service has a long and proud history, and the Surfside Beach Fire Department is no different. the high level of service delivery to the citizens and visitors of Surfside Beach through our combination system of career and volunteer members did not just happen. There have been extraordinary efforts and sacrifices of those who came before me. Because of these sacrifices, I feel humbled to wear this patch and to wear this badge. Mayor Hellier, members of council, and Mr. Shanahan, thank you all very much for your confidence that you have in me. I accept this position, fully comprehending the responsibility that comes with it, and I will not let you down. To the members of the Surfside community, while I take direction from the mayor, town council, and Mr. Shanahan, I, the members of the department, and our volunteer members also understand that we have a commitment to all of you in delivering the best possible service each and every day. I will work tirelessly in continuing to build strong relationships with community members, the business community, and especially our volunteer members, because collaboration and togetherness will ensure my goal of extraordinary service delivery. There is nothing that we cannot accomplish if we do it together. To the members of the department and the volunteer members, and thank you all very much for coming out this evening. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. As with any organization, we are going to face challenges. Some of those challenges will be easy to overcome, but some are going to take much more effort. But with honest and open communication coupled with an open mind, I have no doubt that we will come up with creative solutions to those challenges. The dangers of your chosen profession are many. Your safety and well-being is paramount to me and will be considered in every decision that I make. That is my promise to all of you wearing the uniform and to your family members. As an officer, I learned many years ago that the only way that I will be successful as the fire chief is to support, mentor, and trust and be present for all the members of the Surfside Beach Fire Department, career and volunteer. You know, one of my heroes is John Wooden. Some of you may have heard of John Wooden and know who he is. But if you don't, he was a former basketball coach for UCLA, and during his tenure as a coach, he won 10 NCAA championships, with 7 of those championships being consecutive. But for him, it was not about the number of wins and the number of losses. It was about how the players played the game and who they were as people. He developed a pyramid of success that talked about leadership and how people and organizations can achieve success beyond their wildest dreams. Poise, alertness, enthusiasm, friendship, skill, confidence, and loyalty are just some of the traits that are part of the pyramid of success. The Surfside Beach Fire Department will continue to build upon its existing pyramid of success, and it starts with the phenomenal people that already work and volunteer for this department. We have amazing members that do extraordinary things every day for the citizens and visitors of Surfside Beach. The people, having the right people, is followed up by our mission statement and our guiding principles. Some of our guiding principles are on our challenge coin. They are honor, sacrifice, courage, and bravery. And as Coach Wooden used to say to his players, I am not going to be talking to you about winning or losing because that is a byproduct of preparation. I would much rather be focused on the process of becoming the best team that we can possibly be. 12 to 15 players. That's what makes up a basketball team. That is relevant to us because we are a small fire department made up of 7 career members and numerous volunteers. We are a small team, but if you look at the success of UCLA basketball, they had 12 to 15 players, all working together for the common goal of success. We are not going to let the number of people, or should it be expected for us or looked upon for us to be mediocre. We are going to be well-trained, committed, and a progressive fire department across this country. That is my goal. That is the expectation of my boss sitting right over there. in this council and all of you in this room. To my friends and family, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do this if it wasn't for you. I'm a very lucky man and I have been supported both professionally and personally. My wife, Melissa, that is sitting over there, has supported me throughout my life and throughout my professional career of 32 years in the fire service, 8 years as a volunteer. So I've been doing this a long time, and you don't have success if you don't have a good support system. So I certainly love her, and I appreciate that very much. I'm sorry that our retirement's going to be put on hold for just a little bit longer. We have 1 year of retirement here. And to my sons, Logan and Jordan, both of them live in Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, they are not here today, but I'm very proud of them and love them very much. In closing, I would be remiss if I did not recognize Acting Fire Chief Larry Carter. Larry, I want you to stand. Larry, I will tell you that you and I are just now starting to begin our relationship along with Jeff, one of our captains there, and the volunteer members that are sitting here today. But Larry, you need to know that I'm very proud of the accomplishments while that you were leading and managing this department, and most importantly, protecting this community, that's what we have to do. You're a valued member of the department. I am going to need you, as you have seen the last 2 days, with the million questions that I have had for you, and we'll have a million more as I learn this service in this community here. And I appreciate, as I transition into this position, all your support. I have a lot to learn. I feel fortunate that you are going to be here along with all of the members of the Surfside Beach Fire Department. You are taking in an outsider. And I am not, remiss to the fact that is the case now. But I'm going to be there for all of you, just like you all have been here for me in these past 2 days. And we are going to do great things together. I'm looking very forward to meeting with the members of this community. I will be out and about in this community. Anytime that you have a positive or a comment that you think that we can improve upon, I am open to any of that because we want to do the best. So I thank all of you again for coming tonight. I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Next thing, it's not on the agenda, but as a matter of personal privilege, I would like to introduce the candidates for town council for the election in November. So I'm not sure if everybody is here tonight, but I'm going to have each candidate stand up and introduce themselves. I am going to I'm sure that they're going to be available in the parking lot after their meetings. So if anybody wants to talk to them or get to know them better. The first one is Judy Henyon.
What would you like us to say?
Come on up and give us 30 seconds. You can finish it up in the parking lot.
I like that. I'm Judy Henyon. I've lived in Surfside. I've been in property here since 2000. I've worked at family since 2015. Contrary to popular belief, people do find the love of their life late in life and get married, and women do change their name. Some of you need to make a note of that. In addition to that, I am very astute. I have great financial skills. I've managed a statewide organization for over 30 years. I have served on a federal commission. I was appointed by President Trump to serve on the National School Safety Commission, among other things. So I have some stories to tell, and I'm sure I'd like to share them with you. But I want to do what's right for this town, because we need to bring the town together.
Thank you. William Keegan.
Hello, my name's Bill Kinkin. I lived here, my wife and I moved here 7.5 years ago. But my parents built the cottage on corner of 14th and Dogwood 60 years ago. I spent my high school summers down here. My family and I vacationed here every year. We get holidays, everything down here. Last 20 years, we probably spent 50, 60 days a year here. I love Surfside. I want to serve. I want to make good decisions for this town. And like Judy, I'd like to see us all come together and make this a better town. Thank you.
Laverne Conklin. I pronounced that wrong, didn't I?
Yes.
If you'll pronounce it right.
My name is Laverne Crutchlow. It's still how you say it, so it gets pronounced a lot of different ways. My wife and I moved here in 2015. And I've been coming to the meetings. I just feel like I could help keep the town with the small town feel that is the reason most people move here. And I would like to continue that. And I just think I could help do that. That's all I have to say right now, yes.
Lawrence McKee.
Hello, I'm Larry Lawrence McKee. Anyways, I've lived in town about 7 years, a little bit more. I have served the town on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I was on the Planning Commission for a while. Quite involved on that. I'm a golfer, skier, bike rider. You'll see me around town. A lot of activities. You'll see me on the beach metal detecting. What I promise to be is an independent representative of all the stakeholders in the town. Stakeholders including property owners, residents, and renters, businesses, and of course our visitors, which provide a lot of our income. So hope to see you around. Thank you.
Alex Sampson.
Thanks for having me this evening. My name is Alex Samsel. I'm happy to be running for town council in Surfside Beach. I've owned here for 4 years and have lived here as a resident for 2.5 years. So here's a little about me. I'm reserved. I'm a little bit of an introvert. I'm an analytic, which doesn't make the right recipe for your ideal candidate. I'm my natural state, I'm not kissing babies and shaking hands, but I do have a couple of decades experience as owning a couple of businesses, being a partner in a few businesses, working in a couple of different executive settings for financial services firms. And I think the slice of the universe that I might fit in on the town council is playing that analytic role. So like things I think about are looking at our financials. You know, over the last 10 years, we've had a pretty good run. We've had the wind at our back. Our property taxes, our various tourism-based taxes have grown roughly 30%. Our franchise fees related to some of our utilities. Our business licenses have grown about 17-ish%. And we're on a nice trajectory, a nice glide path to continue that. And so we have 2-3 years of some turbulence. We've got some big projects that are wrapping up. I think an overall project plan, I haven't seen one, but I think there's an opportunity to build a soup to nuts end to end. What are all the decisions that have been made, do a post-mortem, looking forward, what are all the variables that are going to be in place, and examine these things and be transparent. One of the things that over the last 4 years that I've been in tune to with the council is there's some items that I've had a lot of insight into and other ones that didn't have so much. I've been critical in a few Facebook videos, a few of the folks up here, for some of the votes that they've had, and left to my own devices, I've made some conclusions that were not that great. Didn't feel good for me as a resident. So I think having a transparent plan, everything from little decisions over purchasing a vehicle to some of the larger ones, whether it be the next lease coming up, some of the things such as purchasing the town hall, just the transparency word is a cliche, but when you see things on paper, here's all the variables, the costs, long-term projections, various interest rates, revenue associated with it, how it impacts the town, how it impacts me as a resident. I think some of those things are really important. That's not the end all be all. There's the various lenses of what it means for business owners, tenants, guests, and tourists. But to be able to look at all in the package, I think that helps with a lot of folks, a lot of residents go, okay, I may not agree with every decision, but I understand why it was made. I can see the logic steps that took place. So that's my plan. As being an introvert, probably not going to be running around handing out pom-poms and things like that. But what I do have is I've got a YouTube page. I've been posting some videos. I plan on continuing to do so, and they're going to be probably terribly boring and hyper analytic around, do some deep dives on our financials. There's some good things in there. There's some things where I think we've got an opportunity as a town. And I think I've spanned past 30 seconds. Sorry. Thanks for the opportunity. I'll stick around after if anyone has any questions, and I'll try not to crumble in the fetal position.
Sean Shoemaker. Okay, I don't know Mr. Shoemaker, but I take it he is not here. I'll say one more time, Sean Shoemaker. Okay. Chris Stanley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Fanning. I've owned property here in Surfside for 10 years. I've lived here before. I attend the majority of these council meetings, and I've listened and learned a lot from what I've learned here. I don't agree with a lot of decisions that's been made, but we got to have them decisions, and somebody's got to make them. I have 2 daughters. I have 2 grandkids and my wife, and we're here to help this town out as best we can. I can't promise you I'll do everything right to make you happy, but I'll try to work with you. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them after the meeting. And that's basically it.
Well, I'm sure it's given and we see these people a lot in the next 45 days or 50 days. I wish you all well. So, and I look forward to working with whoever is elected on council. All right, next thing is Police Department monthly report by Chief Hoffman. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, and citizens. I will promise I will make this quarterly report brief and as painless as possible. The statistics. First of all, on behalf of the men and women of the Surfside Beach Police Department, Chief, welcome. We look forward to working with you and building a close bond as we always have with the fire department. So congratulations and see you soon. Also, I've got the report here for you for June, July, and August. I'll just go through a couple of highlights, and if you have any questions from reviewing it over the weekend, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. For June of this year, our statistics show a 27% decrease in calls for service from June of last year. Quick note on that, the statistics are a little off right now because we were coming out of COVID, some of the lockdowns and such last year about this time. So these statistics are going to take a little while, I think, to level out. You'll see there's some jumps. So we had a 27% decrease in calls for service. The rest of the citation data showed a 42% decrease from 2020. A couple of personnel changes. Former Officer Daniel Emer returned to the police department. She left a little less than a year ago and moved out of state. And she missed us so much, she's back, and we're glad to have her. We hired Officer Mitchell Minto. He's hired a Class 1 police officer from out of the area, but unfortunately resigned within the same month. Our K9 and handler, PFC Pinto, had 27 hours of training. They had a busy month. They had 7 deployments that resulted in 7 positive alerts, resulting in 7 arrests, seizures of methamphetamine, marijuana, cocaine, crack cocaine, Schedule 3 controlled substance, Schedule 4 controlled substances, paraphernalia, and 1 firearm. In June of 2021, the police department answered 1,968 calls for service. It resulted in 34 custodial arrests, 153 citations, and 29 criminal arrest warrants. 12 of those were for drug possession and distribution. And our personnel transported 12 prisoners to J. Ruben Long and 17 prisoners to the Myrtle Beach Police Department. We issued 140 warnings and lieu of traffic citations in the month of June. In the month of July, we had a 6.4% decrease in calls for service from 2020 July, and we had a 27% increase in arrest and citation data. We were also lucky in the month of July. We picked up a lateral certified officer from Pennsylvania. His name is Terry Elwanger, and he is now fully certified in South Carolina, and he is in the field training role right now. He's doing very well. I think he came to us with about 14 years of experience. In this particular month, PFC Pinto and K9 SIF in July had 5 deployments, 2 positive alerts, 2 arrests. They seized methamphetamine, marijuana, heroin, and paraphernalia. Also, they re-upped their certifications through the South Carolina Police K9 Association, which is one of the recognized associations through the Criminal Justice Academy to make sure our K9 SIF is certified. In the month of July, we answered 2,598 calls for service, resulting in 24 custodial arrests, 334 citations, 21 criminal arrest warrants. 3 of those were for drug possession and distribution. We took 14 prisoners to J. Ruben and 11 prisoners to the Myrtle Beach Police Department and issued 147 written warnings with traffic citations. Just a couple of notable events. In July, we of course participated in the town's 4th of July celebration at Martin Park. That was a great event, and we were happy to be involved in it. And we also participated to provide support in the 4th of July golf cart parade, also a success. In the month of August, we had a 5.9% decrease in calls for service from last year and a 0.40% increase in arrest and citation data. Police Officer Troy Gross resigned from the police department seeking employment in the private sector. We wish him the best. PFC Pinto and K9 SIF had 21 hours of training in August, 8 deployments, 6 positive alerts, resulting in 4 custodial arrests, seizures of methamphetamine, marijuana, heroin, psilocybin mushrooms, don't see that very often, and paraphernalia, and also they arrested a wanted fugitive. K9 SIF and PFC Pinto participated in Hands Across the Border law enforcement checkpoint, which is related to the law enforcement network agreement that you signed to continue. So we were able to participate in that. Thank you for doing that. In the month of August, we answered 2,100 calls for service, resulting in 46 custodial arrests, 183 citations, 19 arrest warrants, 6 of those for drugs. We took 26 prisoners to J. Ruben Long and 16 prisoners to the Myrtle Beach Police Department, and we issued 96 warnings. The police department in August participated in the Grand Strand Open Carry Forum held at Beach Church to help inform citizens of this new open carry law that went into effect August 15th. Also participated in Hands Across the Border public safety checkpoint in cooperation with our 15th Judicial Circuit partners and our North Carolina colleagues. So that is your quarterly report from the Surfside Beach Police Department. If I could mention one quick thing, I wanted to address the comments by Mr. Barnett. Is that correct, sir? Tragic. I apologize that you were victimized in that way, and we have not taken it lightly. The investigation continues into that matter, and we have identified the suspect from that, and our detectives are working right now to locate that individual and put him in jail. But we regret that happened. Numerous residents were victimized, cars were broken into, and we had 1 home broken into. So it's not a good night. It happened right at shift change. So fortunately, we had a couple extra officers on to try to get down into the area, and he was able to flee the area before we could get him apprehended. But I assure you that we are working diligently to resolve that matter. If you have any questions about the report, I would be more than happy to answer them this time.
Chief,
this summer was a pretty busy summer.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of people here, we were almost full.
Yes, sir.
How does this compare with your, everything that happened, for the crowds and everything compared to other years?
We're very busy. The officers did an amazing job. I'm really proud of the hard work that they did. We did it with some of the shortest, lowest staffing levels that we've had in years. But I think overall it was a success. Calls for service it's strange with the statistics. It appears that calls for service were down, but what we've seen is an increase in certain calls for service, particularly ones related to quality of life. Some calls related to harassments are up. Neighbor disputes are up. Those types of things that make it difficult when we get pulled into the middle of some of those things to try to resolve them. So the officers have been really trying to work with the community to address this. And we had a really busy summer, but hopefully the community and council will agree that we've held it together.
In your police department's like everyone else, they're having a hard time with staffing.
Yes, sir.
So, why shouldn't everybody get it?
Yeah, we're 3 officers short right now. We've had numerous staff out with COVID, and we've had officers who've been working their off days. We've had to mandate them to come in and work some off days to cover shifts, and they've all worked together as a team and looked out for each other. And but we are facing the same challenges as all the other. Every profession field is suffering right now, and law enforcement is no exception to that.
The chief also left us that he's been coming and working patrol and doing things too.
Yeah, we saw the captain leading our golf cart parade.
Yeah. Well, I love getting out in the field, so that's fine. I wish I could do it more often. It's a lot prettier out there than in the office. But thank you, boss, for acknowledging that. I appreciate it.
We appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, if we move into business, the first thing is a decision paper with John Adair.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council and citizens. I come before you tonight a little unexpectedly. We did this 2 years ago. With all the production issues going on today in the supply chains, getting equipment is taking longer and longer and longer to get, particularly the large trucks that we use. Our intention is to budget for next fiscal year, July of 22 to 23, a side loading trash truck. We started using this, just for background, we started using the automatic side loading truck around 2007 and 2008. Prior to that, they used rear loading truck with a couple of guys on the back. It was more labor intensive. We switched to the automatic one-on side loaders. Is a one-man operation. It saves fuel, saves manpower, and it's worked out well for us. We still have one rear loader left in the fleet from 2004 prior to the transition. That truck has reached pretty much the end of its life cycle for us. So we want to replace that with a side loader for next fiscal year. So what I need to do is what I did 2 years ago. We come to the council and request authorization to authorize the administrator to sign a letter of intent to purchase this truck for next fiscal year. That'll get us into the production queue with the manufacturer that we use. The truck it's a Mack cab and chassis, and it gets sent up to Canada to have the body put on it. It's a drop frame Labrie body that we use, which has been good to us. The production time turnaround is about 500 days right now to make that truck. So there's a price increase next week on the truck. We thought this would be the best time to come to council and ask for this letter of intent to be approved. I can have drawn up and have the administrator sign it and get it to them this week, and we could, the price will be locked in, and we'll be able to get the truck in the fiscal year in which it's budgeted. It's the fourth truck. It's not an additional truck. We have 4 trucks now. This will just be replacing a rear loader with a side load truck. Does anybody have any questions?
What is the life expectancy of your other trucks?
The side loaders, we anticipate getting about 12 years out of.
And what years are those trucks?
The current trucks that we have, the side loaders, are 2013, 2015, and 2020. And again, the 2020 truck, we did do the same thing, letter of intent, back in early 2019, so we would get it in the proper fiscal year.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor. John, is this the last rear loader?
Yes, this is the only
Is
real
the
one
only
we have.
one left?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. John, does the truck have any residual value that we can get on the market for if somebody wants to refurbish it or whatever?
Yeah, we would typically sell this on gov deals. They go in for probably anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 range, depending on the market at the time.
How many miles on?
Last time here about 70 or so, 75,000 miles.
That's good on the map.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason why it's lasted so long is because it's the old style diesel engine that doesn't rely on the 100 computers like the new trucks do, and the DPF exhaust system, which has really killed the whole diesel industry, is the exhaust requirement.
So what about the truck is making it meet its lifetime for us? Other than, it's a 2004.
Well, it's starting to have more breakdowns than it did before. It's having more
Hydraulics
downtime.
and stuff?
Yeah, the various things age. We keep everything in pretty good shape, but the overriding reason is just manpower. It takes 2 and 3 guys to operate it. And we've had the busiest year we've had in a very long time. I went and did the numbers, and if you go from the 13-14 fiscal year until this fiscal year just ended on June 30th, our residential trash is up about 25%. Our commercial trash is up about 25% from just 7 or 8 years ago. Bulk material up 68%. Yard debris is kind of hard to figure because of all the hurricanes we've had. We've had various levels of yard debris. But overall, our operation has really gotten heavier and heavier and heavier. So these trucks are always running on the street. And whenever we have one truck down, this rear loader goes out. You got to steal people. I've had to take people from from street department and the grounds department to man the back of the truck just to get the route finished for the day. That's the one part of public works that cannot be not done is the sanitation work. The prudent thing to do would be to replace this truck at this time. And
One more question. We replaced this in 23. Based on the dates you just gave us, we're looking at 27 or so before the next one comes up to be replaced.
yeah,
I guess they have about a 12-year,
the
25 or so.
Yeah, I'm looking to replace the 2013 and the 25-6 fiscal year. That's what my projection is. We try to, if we can, not double up 2 in the same year replacements, because it runs into a lot of money.
I mean, I'm sure you have it, but do we have some list? I mean, this all funnels through either the capital fund or does this come out of the sanitation fund?
The Sanitation Enterprise Fund, it's an
Okay, so-
independent entity. if you
So
will.
it's not really taxpayer quote dollars, it's all from,
Yeah, it's all funded by the revenues that people pay
Right.
for their trash service. We charge $18.75 for one can, and then we charge businesses to dump their dumpsters. And the whole operation in the course of a fiscal year runs at about somewhere between 200 to 350 in the black. And that's what we use to buy equipment with, basically.
so in about 12 years, and then we have enough money for the next truck? Is that about?
Well, about
what's
every
happening?
year, we need a truck, whether it's a knuckle boom truck or a side loader, or a front loader that picks up the containers.
Right.
We have a fleet of 9 of the big trucks. And so if you have like a 12-year, more or less replacement schedule, almost every year you're buying a truck. Every other year in some cases, but that's kind of how it runs.
Can we publish that schedule for residents' information? Because everybody seems to have the same issue. Between Public Works and Police Department, we're always buying a new vehicle. So, and I understand there's valid reasons and, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against what you have planned. But I think if we can show what is the value behind what we're doing, and just publish that kind of schedule that says, here's our capital assets that support, public works, supports the fire department, supports the police department. And here's how we maintain them, and how we've decided that this is the optimum time to start replacing vehicles. And we do that on a rotating basis across, 30, 50 vehicles that the town must own.
Yeah, sure.
All the departments.
Yeah,
It's a depreciation schedule.
Yeah, well, we have a replacement plan. We loosely do it every couple of years. We update it for the next 5 years. So we have a picture of where we want to go. And I coordinate with finance to make sure that we're not getting close to a place where we have to raise rates. But we will get there. We raised rates in 2013, the last time we raised rates for sanitation. So between the cost of employees and the cost of insurance, retirements, equipment, the same truck that we're budgeting $340 some odd thousand for was like $300,000 5 years ago. So these things keep going up. Eventually, our rates are going to have to go up. So I coordinate with finance to make sure that my next couple of years, if we're going to get into a rate increase situation, we have to let the public and the council, obviously, if that's a whole ordinance change and public workshops and all that stuff.
Well, I just think if we have a version of that maybe we can publish on our webpage for anybody that's interested. I mean, I'm sure not everybody would be interested in how many trucks we own and, what their life cycle is, but I think there are some out there that might, you might want to sanitize it a little bit. Maybe there's something there you don't want as,
Well, a common thing that a lot of people get hung up on is mileage, to be honest with you. It's really engine hours. When you have a municipality, it's all about engine hours. The mileage can be deceiving. These things idle for a long time, and every hour of idling is like putting 25 miles on a vehicle. And the hydraulics and the movement and constant, 100 moving parts, these things, they don't last. 12 years is a good amount of time to keep a trash truck. Back when I was in New York City sanitation, they try to rotate them out about every 7 or 8 years. So we do much better, obviously, since we're not in the city. But there's still wear and tear.
salt there, impact on it as well?
Not so much. Some things, yeah, some components, but not as much as some of my other stuff that runs on the beach, tractors and whatnot.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Just for council, keep in mind that this rear loader was not budgeted for next year's budget year at all. So therefore, this fourth one wasn't budgeted either. So that's going to be a true $340,000 addition to next year's budget. So just keep that in mind. It's still for the sanitation fund does pretty well, so I don't think it'll be an issue. But that's a true increase to the budget where John will have to look at the rest of his budget and work that in. So just keep that in mind. I won't have to worry about it.
And do I have a motion for this?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to issue the letter of intent to procure the refuse truck with the sidearm, automated sidearm, with a budgeted value of approximately $340,000.
Yes, okay. Okay, any more discussion before we vote on it? Ms. Coles?
Yes.
Holder?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Drake? Yes. And I'm yes also, so. We'll get your commencement letter after your day truck. Right. All right, the next thing on the agenda will be the Waccamaw Market Cooperative Holiday Market.
My name is Samantha Tipton. I'm the Executive Director for the Waccamaw Market Cooperative. I'm here tonight to ask for your approval for a financial sponsorship for the holiday market. If approved, this would be the third year that we've been able to offer the holiday market. We did start doing this holiday market for the requests of our residents and our regular shoppers that are there. It is essentially an extension of our regular market that is there right now. That regular season is designed to end the last Tuesday of October, and the holiday market that is proposed would start the first Tuesday of November. So there's no disruption in the market service that is offered there. We've had a great turnout and success of these markets in the previous years for the holiday market, extending it. The theme changes a little bit. There's some more holiday themed items and different things for people to come out and do their holiday shopping. So we would be very happy to be able to offer this for your residents and for our vendors to continue to have the market each Tuesday. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I just have a comment.
All right.
I think from the perspective of all the events we now have going on in town, we've got one arrangement with My Olive Shack that sponsors a craft market on every Thursday and will do so through December. We also have, they are also doing the same craft market one Sunday a month. We've also instituted arts and crafts and music in the park every Sunday indefinitely, as long as, you know, we're getting people to be responsive to it. So we already have 2 weekly events for crafts and art and events in the park. I don't really feel we need to spend $1,000 to make a third in the park. It's just my opinion.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir.
Well, I'll have to agree with Ms. Keating on that also, and the fact that also the more we look into the fact that how things are done, you're asking for $1,000 for this, and nobody there has a business license. Nobody there is paying anything for the town. If the My Olive Shack, they're getting a business license, they're participating in tax, A-tax and other tax, and paying fee there. So with them, and keep Surfside beautiful, they're doing a fabulous job. And we'd like to keep things more in-house to the town. Not saying that you didn't do a good job, it's just fact it's a cost factor to us, to you, and the other $7,000 was spent for the farmers market. And we'd like to see more of that come within Surfside Beach.
I do think we've done a good job as well. We are 501c3, so as far as I understand, we are following regulations that they don't have a business license there, is what they looked into and just discovered. So I'm not aware that we are violating anything by doing that. The board is, of course, aware of these conversations and have had this conversation of what to do when this comes up, because we want to continue to offer this, and we know residents do as well. And the board did vote to offer this as an in-kind service for the use of continuing to use the park on Tuesdays through December for the holiday market, if it is approved for you guys.
Anyone else have any questions? Do I have a motion for this?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the Walkmall Market for the winter event, the holiday event for 2021.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion in a second. Any more conversation before we vote on? Okay, Ms. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Holden?
Yes.
Keating?
No.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Drake? No. And I'm no also. So that motion has failed, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
The next thing here is the resolution 210140, to temporarily suspend enforcement of certain ordinances that prohibit the sale of consumption of alcoholic beverages on private property. Do I have a motion for that? Okay. Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. Lee Lance, Benjamin's Bakery, 3rd Avenue South. Been around 27 years. This is Miss Melanie Keith. A couple of years ago, y'all are aware that 3rd Avenue South and the alley had major reinvestments, burying utilities. Actually, at the last meeting, former Mayor Bob
won an award, et cetera. Back then, Miss Melanie, who's with Waccamaw Publisher, said, why don't we do something for the downtown merchants to celebrate this beautiful street? And I said no. But she came at me again this year, and it's been an interesting year with COVID, et cetera. And so the purpose of this is basically a nonprofit event with all proceeds going to SCUDA, which sounds silly, but it's the South Carolina United Turtles Enthusiasts. I'm not sure what the A stands for, of Garden City and Surfside Beach. So it's a nonprofit event to bring a little bit of attention to downtown. I mean, taking nothing away at all from the Surfside Family Festival or Barbecue Festival, but that's 90% of those vendors are not having anything to do with Surfside except during that event. This is an opportunity for the downtown merchants to participate, to highlight what they do on an everyday basis. And I know we mentioned the alcohol sales are actually just being done by Brigada. So I mean, it is them as a brick and mortar that would benefit from this one additional aspect of being able to make sure we attract as wide an audience as possible. It is going to be an extremely family-friendly event. Not that I suggest we feed all the children beer, but we're going to be having, based on the success of the 4th of July event, et cetera, there will be a dunking booth. We do believe, well, I don't know, some of the police department may participate, but there will be some of the regular folks in town that you always wish you could throw things at, you know, being willing to be dunked. One of my chefs is actually also participating. So this young lady has all the what's, where's, whatever. I just wanted to give a little bit of background to what this is. Nobody basically knows, except at the last meeting, we actually came to you and said, hey, can we get a thumbs up? We're not asking for any money. And you all were nice enough to give us town approval on it, but it has created a little bit of a conundrum because without being a town-sponsored event, we're not asking for money, but we've run into the problem that not all the people that want to participate have a Surfside business license, et cetera. That aspect I'll leave over to Miss Melanie to try to resolve. What you all can do to see if this event can go down. There will be food trucks. A lot of the people, Graham's Produce from the market, who has a Surfside business license. I forget the gentleman, the hot dogs, Surf Dogs business license, et cetera. These people will participate. An amazing number of nonprofits are coming in. The vendor fee is a mere $50 for people that want to participate. In every way, I love the fact that it's doing something a little bit more downtown related. And speaking of, you know, Mr. Aguirre helped us a few years ago and we did the alley. All 4 of the food vendors on that street that back up, Surfside Pizza, sorry, a little bit nervous, Brigada, Malibu's, and myself, we all share a dumpster because we were able to bring in a recycler, a cardboard recycler, which picks up the trash on a more common basis, cut down our refuse by like 30% because of the recycling efforts that the town has helped provide with oversized blue cans, as well as the huge cardboard recycler. So that block is already working together to help maximize the economy, the things. So anything y'all can do that helps make this event happen and be successful, I know I, as a downtown business, would greatly appreciate it. Being the inaugural event, I can only hope in the future that it grows and helps promote Surfside as a family-friendly place to come to.
Okay, is this behind in the alley is where it's going to be?
Well, it originally started as, let's do it as a rally in the alley. But we outgrew the alley pretty quick because there are a lot of people that are interested. It will incorporate the dirt lot that is beneath our beautiful mural. That will be lined with vendors. The entire Third Avenue will be closed off, and that will be lined with vendors. I should say the entire, just to alley. Won't impact Poplar at all. Maybe a surprise, but the fire department is nice enough to indicate they will be possibly lending us, since a little bit of a power change here, a fire truck to be by Allstate, so that makes, no traffic in the alley. We've rented a bandstand by King of Carts so that there'll be music for Third Avenue, and Borgata's new deck, the tall deck, will be operating at a bandstand so that the dirt lot and the alley proper will also have music. Jonathan Norris, who's very big here as far as the music person is, we know him from Borgata and the Goat, and he's the one that does a lot of the music for the Sunday serenade, etc., is our music person. Well, I'm kind of spewing information because I really didn't plan to get up here, but any other questions that I could answer to hopefully gain your cooperation?
And I sent an email yesterday, I hope that you all received it, about the things that we have in place. We will have barriers outlining the premises with only certain entryways and exit ways, which will have signage posted. No alcohol in, no alcohol out. Brooke Monroe, the owner of Borgata's, has applied for a special license for that day in the Sandlot. She would be the only person in the whole festival serving alcohol, which she will be using different cups so we can identify as volunteers that are policing these entryways, that we know that's not walking out of there. Anything that she sells in the bar will stay in the bar. She would only have beer, and I don't even know if she's having wine.
Yeah,
just beer in the Sandlot.
I'm going to interrupt you. The volunteers are basically Keep Surfside Beautiful, who's the organization that's helping to, I don't want to use the word sponsor, but Tabitha has been invaluable to help organize this. So it's her people and turtle enthusiasts, which have threatened to come in turtle uniforms. But if you see turtle people, don't be crazy. But they'll have T-shirts that will identify them as volunteers. For a first-year effort, I mean, I'm shocked at how much small details go into it. And so any cooperation you all can do to help make it happen, because I'm more worried about staffing my bakery, so this young lady's saddled with most of this.
Well, I've been worried about the fact that we're down 7 police officers right now, so we're real tight on our police. And we've only suspended this once, okay? And that was for Martin Field on the 4th of July. And Martin Field is self-contained. And we had police officers all the way around it to make sure nobody drinks. It's sort of, and the thing is, if it's only the Borgata, my question, if it's only the Borgata, why can't people go in and get something at Borgata and drink it there?
I mean, it is an outdoor event, and I'm sure they could go in as opposed to having an outdoor tap. I think it's a beer keg type device. But we figured it'd be a little bit more friendly if you just explained on the poster that there will be beer available. It's a nonprofit. Any money that we spend otherwise is going not to go to Turtle People. But I mean, I've mentioned to Chief Hoffman that if there's overtime involved, and if we show any kind of positive money after all the expenses, I'd be happy to kick that towards the overtime cost of the police officers. Officer Williams, of course, Chief Hoffman have come and been very supportive, especially in lieu of that. Most of the policing will be done by the actual volunteers, Keep Surfside Beautiful and the Turtle People.
Mr. Mayor, are you going to have the business license by chance? As far as you said, I know you have a business license, Borgata has a business license. Everybody there, will they have a Surfside business license that's going to be selling?
Yeah. Well,
anything?
Right, well, that's the crux of it. One of the things that we were hoping is in the ordinances, woman who should not be named, mentioned that you all have the power to see if any of the people that want to come have or not have a business license, kind of like, you know,
Market.
the market.
But that's,
Maybe a good thing Samantha's gone. She's not a happy person.
that's one reason why I'm asking that question. We want to keep it where the business license comes into
Moving
effect.
forward at this point in time, anybody that has reached out to us that does not already have a Surfside business license has had to purchase one in order if they are selling something at this event.
But we've actually refunded money to people that would like to participate, but aren't there so much for making a lot of money, but just being visible and being part of this, that the cost of the business license has caused them to pull out.
How many vendors do you have at this point?
At this point, 32.
And we're shooting for 40. So we're a little bit stymied because the business licenses pushed us back. We thought we had all 40. And if that could possibly resolve, you know, I'd make Samantha come back and knock down that $1,000 price.
As far as profitability and your expectations on what you would make, how much of that is going to be contributed to the beer and it's the beer itself?
That's a,
Money goes to her.
I believe beer sales, that most of the proceeds will come from the dunk tank. And
We have a raffle throughout the day. We have numerous store prizes that people will buy raffle tickets, $5 for $1, $6 for $5. And throughout the day, we will have a drawing, which those prizes will be distributed. So we're making money through that raffle for them and also with them.
the dunk tank.
And also the booths.
Cost of the booze, Phil at Surfside Resort has put up the grand prize of X number of days, nights at the resort. There's $50 gift certificates from like Malibu's. We have a $50 gift basket from Benjamin's. We're doing everything we can to be able to sell raffle tickets so that there is a positive income from this, so that the Turtle people, you know, benefit from the effort. My goal was not so much as profit, but just to get some exposure to all the work that went into burying the utilities, making the alley beautiful. And of course, Third Avenue was a spillover when we realized that that alley is just too small to have any event that's really going to attract people.
Mr. Mayor? My concern with this, again, and I think I say it almost every meeting, is we have multiple arrangements. Where is the agreement that you signed with the town as far as what you're going to do, what you're going to charge, what your insurance coverage is, who's going to be liable if somebody gets hurt? All those things we have in that agreement with My Olive Shack to use our public property, we need to have in place with whomever is the lead sponsor of this event. And don't get me wrong, I am not opposed to having the event. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I 100% agree that we need to support our local businesses. So don't get me wrong, but if we just proceed on this basis, then if I was John and Sonia Hutton, I'd have a serious problem with this town making them execute an agreement and pay us a portion of their table fees when we've got somebody else doing the very same thing and they don't have to do that. So again, how are we going to do these events in our town that are not town sponsored?
We, have received a draft special events ordinance policy. And in the process, I need to sit down with Lisa and a little bit more. We're in the process of getting this together. When we spoke about this
I was under the impression that we basically had till the end of the year to follow what our normal processes was, and then in January to have a brand new process for everybody, so.
They're looking at this about 12 days away.
Yeah, in reference to this, if approved by the council, we will make sure everything's in writing.
I mean, we also have an ordinance that stipulates agreement to use public property, you know, and the liability insurance. I'm assuming Third Avenue is a town road and not a state road, so we're not getting into that, right? But are the police aware that we're shutting down of an access road into town? They know this was happening?
I am under the impression that they have met with the police and discussed it. I had staff working on it, so I don't know everything that happened to it.
But again, if we had that same agreement in place that we have with My Olive Shack, it would have stipulated the town will do this, this, and this, you'll do that, that, and that, and we wouldn't be talking about it, we'd just be entertaining from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Do we want to allow people to drink beer up and down the sidewalks of Surfside to Third Avenue? But right now, I mean, from 10 to 3, I'm kind of saying, my personal opinion was, you know, this creates a bit of a slippery slope. You know, if we're testing the ordinance as far as do we want to rewrite the ordinance to allow alcohol sales at town approved or town sponsored events, which one or both, then that's one thing. But to just piecemeal it, again, when we don't have a standard process of how do we do these events, we're treating everybody differently. You know, do they get a special nod because they're a charity organization, that their proceeds are going to charity? Okay, maybe that's a valid reason, but it should be written in that agreement that everybody signs. You know, if somebody gets hurt at this event, who's responsible? Is that our insurance? I mean, who owns that property we're going to use next to Borgata's? I mean, Brooke doesn't own it, the town doesn't own it.
She had checked with.
The landlord of my building, Brooks Building, Malibu's building owns that and has given the nod that, you know.
But I mean, these are the kind of things that should be set out in the agreement with the town. And there should be a requirement, like we did with My Olive Shack. They had to put forward liability insurance to conduct their event in our park. And we should be doing the same thing here.
If at all possible, I promise you, this is an inaugural event. Yes, it's been a little bit, you know, trying to get everybody together and make sure that the town, you know, was behind this being successful. By next year, I'll make you proud. I recognize we're kind of doing a little bit of the last minute pull together. I do think it's worth it if y'all could help us with it.
I think Mr. Mayor, on the insurance part, I think you could be able to do that within 24 hours if you had to. And then the business license for everyone would be no problem.
Well, it's put on by your organization, right?
No, it's not. We're just the media sponsor of the event. So we were pushing out the advertising, getting people to come to the event. It's kind of us personally putting on this event.
Right, but you don't want us to hold you responsible if somebody trips and falls and decides they want to sue for $30,000.
No, I don't.
So I don't think the residents want us to put them on the hook for that either. That's where the insurance comes into play.
And you are correct. We have several different policies that have been in place for years. We've got one for 501c3s. We've got one for one-time events, yearly events. We've got one for those folks that come to the park and they stay there 6 months or 3 months or 4 months, whatever it is. We've got one for the weekend things. And I don't just, and it's too many, I agree 100%. But again, the goal was, this was in place for this year. I mean, I could probably have the package ready for you for the next council meeting. I mean, can get everyone on the same piece of
Well, I
music.
mean, what we're looking at right now isn't the fact on stopping what's going on the 25th. The reason we're before council now is to do the alcohol.
Yes, sir.
And I think that the town administrator needs to work something out as far as the details and the contract or whatever needs to be done to protect the town.
Yeah, we'll have that based on what the vote is.
So we need to make a decision on whether alcohol is going to be served at that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
did I understand there's gonna be a confined area where alcohol will be sold?
Yes.
And the people drinking will be staying in that area, not walking the downtown street?
No, they would be in the confined area of the festival.
Okay, thank you.
And the confined area for the festival is Surfside Drive from the top alley behind the barber shop to Poplar, and then Surfside Drive to Third Avenue.
Well, the alley behind Surfside Drive and Third Avenue. It's not the sidewalks of
So
Surfside Drive.
Surfside Drive is not part of it.
I mean, it's all those businesses that front Surfside Drive, but it's their rear entrances on the alley is where the festival takes place. And then, of course, there'll be barricades running around all the vendor aspects where any public egress or, where they can come and go.
Except for the empty lot next to Bordello.
Well, that's gonna have,
That'll be
that will be fully barricaded as well.
On Surfside Drive.
Right.
Still gonna have to cross the part about the insurance, make sure that's in place, whether the alcohol's there or not. If the alcohol's there, the insurance definitely needs to be in place.
Well, that's, I guess alcohol would be a big effect on insurance.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
Mr.
know.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution 210140, based on the confirmation of liability insurance.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, one more comment. I mean, the event goes on from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
11 to 2.
I mean, do we really need beer being sold prior to 3 p.m.? I mean,
I don't think it's going to be a big aspect, but we wanted Borgata to be definitely included as part of this. And so enabling the beer sales seemed to have no negative effect, as it allowed Borgata to be a little bit more a participant, as well as it would attract a few more people, granted.
I'm pretty sure anybody that is that hard up to need a beer before 3 p.m. could walk in the back door of Borgata's and buy it there anyway.
So was there a second to your motion?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to hear from Kenny before we vote on it.
Yes, sir.
Tell us.
What would you like to know? Tell us.
I mean, you talked to everybody about it. You know what plans are and everything. We talked a little bit right before the meeting, where you were telling me about, I guess it's Grand Strand Brewery or whatever.
I'm not sure which brewery it is.
It is Grand Strand Brewery and New South.
New South.
We've attended 2 meetings with these folks to make sure that public safety is paramount. And they seem to have a pretty good grip on what they want. And we've had lengthy discussions about the importance of signage and enclosing the area and make sure that there's clear indication that no outside alcohol can come in and no inside alcohol can go out. They've assured us they'll have enough volunteers at those entry points and exit points. The staffing from the police department is a concern, but we are able to provide 2 officers, which I think should be sufficient. For that, we'll have officers come in and cover it for that period of time. We can also, we've offered to put a booth there as well.
a few frisbees if you're there. But I don't think that you're gonna sell a lot of alcohol from 10 to 3. But I think that we do have some residents who like to be able to come and walk around and have a beer while they do that. And 4th of July, we didn't have any problems with that particular event. And so I'm not opposed to it. If council wishes it to go forward, then the police department will cooperate and make it happen. It is a strain on our resources, there's no doubt. We'll have to call in officers, it'll be overtime, but Lee's agreed that if that's the case and if they can, then they can compensate the town for the overtime, then if it's a good event, it's a win-win for everybody. That's my perspective.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Chief Hall?
Chief, you knew they were shutting down 3rd Avenue, so that whole entire block would be patrolled?
I was aware that they were planning to close 3rd from, I believe, Floral to Poplar, but leaving Poplar open for traffic. And I was also aware, and we were involved in some of the discussion, that I didn't think it'd be appropriate for the event to be on Surfside Drive side, the sidewalks there, so it's behind there, and then over to 3rd on that area there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, one question back here. The other businesses on the area where your place is, you shut that road down. I don't know if those businesses are open on that day or they
We've
written
talked
permission
to-
from them. Or...
We've talked to every business that physically is affected. And other than, I don't know if y'all know Bear, he's one of the crew of the roofing companies. They don't think they're gonna have any reason, but we've assured them that if they have to bring their truck in and out of the alley, we will hand walk it through. So it should not encumber any of the businesses, and they've all been made aware of the event.
And they signed that they were.
And given the opportunity to participate at no cost, if they can help showcase what they do, whether it's the flooring people, the chimney people, the roofing people, just a little bit of an opportunity for those downtown folks to have a little bit more of a presence and not have to go down to the ocean front to participate in a Surfside celebration.
Okay, so we have a motion and it's been seconded that to pass it if there's liability insurance. And that liability insurance will include alcohol beverages. So, beg your pardon?
Over time, for the police department, he's gonna bring in the officer. As Kenny said.
He said that they're gonna provide officers.
Okay, he said we have to bring some in. Can you say you got to bring some officers in? You have to bring 2 officers in.
Okay, any more questions before we vote on this? Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Holder?
Yes.
Keating?
No.
Pellegrino? Drake?
No.
And I'm gonna vote yes on it. So,
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
the next thing on here is public comments. And this is about town services and business conducted. Do we have any public comments?
Feel free.
My name is Veronica Collins, 713 North Ocean Drive, and I just want to thank you, council, for approving this. I first owned here in 2003, and then Ben's shop was always a little piece of sunlight in Surfside. And it started when he was just making the rolls for the restaurants, and then he's like, oh, people may want coffee. I think I'll start doing that. And I've been watching his business grow since, I guess almost 20 years. And you know what? I just love his enthusiasm for this, and I'm really glad we supported him. And I don't think a couple of cans of beer are going to kill anybody at this point. I see people drinking all over. I don't drink beer, so I'm exempt. But thank you. I think it's a good thing. Ben, thank you for stepping up, dude. Smelling, I don't know you, but good luck.
Yes, ma'am.
Lynn Livesey, 520 10th Avenue South. I just had a couple of comments. I think at the last meeting, you all were talking about parking that involved the Ocean Boulevard and then involved, and blah, blah, blah. I think probably the E District needs to go back to planning and let them work on the parking. Putting a bunch of stripes on the road, or, I'd imagine maybe we could put a big circle down there, like just everyone moving like this. That would be great. I don't think we need golf carts in front of, because it's dangerous. The other thing that I just wanted to talk about are code enforcement. The folks are doing the best they can. And I know the police get calls about code enforcement. That really should go back to code enforcement. But things are happening without oversight, like people begging for forgiveness rather than permission. And they can't keep up with everything because they don't have a full staff either. But people are randomly cutting trees when they feel like it, mostly on the weekends. If I hear a chainsaw, I just drive up and ask them, what are you doing? Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. I know some of the code. And I'll just unfortunately have to call the general number for the police and have them go see if they've got a permit. I just think some of those things need to be looked at a little harder. And also, I think we have code enforcement about feeding the wild geese. We don't need to be encouraging that. They really are nasty. They're beautiful, but they're nasty. And it is in our code. We're not supposed to feed the wild game. You can't have a chicken house in your yard, so why are we letting them feed on an empty lot? And that's been going on in a certain neighborhood for a while. And I don't think the police should have to handle it. I think code enforcement should enforce it, give a ticket, and fine them and do whatever. Police shouldn't have to run down to do that all the time. Also, I think our neighborhoods are becoming sort of full of RVs parked in yards and boats. Some people have more than 2, 3. That's code enforcement. It's on the code. You're not supposed to do that. You build a structure around it, or you have to cover it. You're not supposed to have more than 2. And it's becoming kind of a nuisance in some areas. I mean, I just think it's an eyesore for our little town. It looks like an RV park. And I'd just like to say that I saw the candidates. I read some things about them. I really hope that we're going to have a real positive campaign. I don't think we need all that negativity. I don't think we need any special websites. And YouTube's is funny, are okay. But our town needs to project a real positive attitude toward the people who live here, as well as the people who come and go in our community. People who are tourists here, they look at Surfside's site. They check it out and they see what's going on and they hear rumors. And it would be really nice to have a calm, positive campaign. Let's see if there's anything else. It's mostly the parking in the E District. I think we need to throw that back at them and let them work on that. But thank you all a lot. Y'all do a good job. Thank you.
Chris Kane, 715 Cedar Drive North. Thanks for working with the businesses of this town to help these people do what they're doing. That's business. That's good business sense. And I appreciate it. I appreciate the ones that voted to let these people go ahead.
Okay, there's a possibility that we may be going into executive session tonight. So in that case, we're going to do our town council comments before that. So, Ms. Cole?
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate this great turnout, and it was nice meeting the candidates. Looking forward to, as one of the residents has stated, a clean campaign. I think I stated last time, let's campaign on what you can bring to this town, what you can do for this town, not what your opponent has done or may do. Focus on yourself. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what you can do and what you can bring to this town. I appreciate all of the employees, the responders, police and fire, and welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you, and I hope everyone stays safe and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Mr. Holder.
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
and also the people that are online. And I would like to thank, welcome the new fire chief, because I think this, that was great introductory letter you had. You know, and also, I want to thank Barry Carter for a great job you've done. Barry, you've been great. And, yeah, I really, I think of all Larry. And so, thank you for that. And thank you to all the firemen. And thank you for the police department, for everything you're doing right now. And it is a staffing problem. And that's something we're hearing from everybody. Nobody can get help, enough help to do anything today. And that concerns me. And it's something we're all concerned, a lot of us. It's terrible when places like our preacher crew is only open 2 hours a day. That's unbelievable to me. So that's stuff. I'm very excited that we're going to got that far to finish the event going on down here and with the business, and I think that'll be a great success. So thank you.
Yeah. Likewise, I want to thank everybody for coming out. We do have a full house tonight, so that's good to see. I appreciate that. I want to thank our candidates for stepping up and wanting to help our town and throw their hat in the ring. Speaking from experience, you're in for quite an education. I hope you're prepared. But best of luck to all of you. I look forward to working with those that are elected by our populace. One thing I want to make perfectly clear, I did not vote against having the event on 3rd Avenue. I am 100% behind the businesses. I think it's a fabulous idea, and I appreciate those that have brought that forward. What I voted against was needing to serve alcohol between 10 or 11 and 3. That's what I voted against. I don't think it's necessary. When we had the event on 4th of July, it was over the evening. There was no other businesses around it. So we waived the ordinance to bring in that for the participants to enjoy and stay there with all of the vendors. That is not the case for the 3rd Avenue Promenade event. There are places you can go, and again, it's only 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I just think timing wise, location wise, it's not a situation we should be just waiving our ordinance for. It's a slippery slope when you start it. So just wanted to clarify, I am 100% behind the event and I will be participating in it. I was just against serving the alcohol there. So I just want to make that clear. Again, as I say every week, I appreciate all of the comments, the private messages, and the feedback on Facebook to my posts and all the compliments I receive for the information I share. And again, it's very humbling for me to see how many people follow me, how many people appreciate the information and, you know, have such kind words to say. So I thank you for that. I appreciate the acknowledgement of the additional effort and hard work I put in to provide that information to you every time we have a council meeting. So with that, have a great night, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, if not before. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pellegrino.
Thanks for coming tonight. And I do appreciate the comments, and I do agree in the zoning department, we have a huge opportunity here. Right now, PB&Z, we're not staffed fully, we're understaffed. So they're doing what they can do. The administrator has a very good structured plan to fill those, but obviously it's going to take time to get all those positions filled. I will talk to the administrator some this week about what we can do in the meantime, because trees, for one, I've never seen so many huge oak trees get cut down in this last 6 months. I mean, it's just every week they're going down, huge trees. And to me, that's what makes Surfside different from an appearance standpoint. you go back off the first 3 blocks, there's a lot of trees in our neighborhood. And for some reason, there's a lot of people who live here who want to make the backside look like the beach side, but that's not so appealing. So the administrator has a good plan. He's working on that, but we'll see what we can do in the meantime to try to beef up that enforcement. As far as the candidates, I do appreciate your courage. It takes courage to do that. I'd love to see everything stay positive. I'm not sure if everyone in this town is always capable of being positive all the time. After 8 years, my rap sheet, my wife and I call it the rap sheet of accusations. My rap sheet is huge. And it's surprising that Chief Hoffman didn't come over with handcuffs, because I've done it all in the last 8 years. Anyways, but I do appreciate people stepping up. It's a thankless job, and doesn't matter which way you vote, you always be criticized, but that's good. Everyone should have different opinions, and the majority should win. That's how council form of government works. So anyways, have a great night. Thanks for coming.
Mr. Gray. Yes, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and tuning in tonight. And thank you to the new chief, fire chief, welcome aboard. And Larry, thank you for what you've done and sticking in there with it. Appreciate it. And the part about the Third Avenue event, and for the event, I just want to make sure the town's protected with the insurance and make sure that that is done prior to us getting the approval. So but that's just something, and me, it just goes back to, they'll pay for one incident and it's gonna cost a pile of money. So we've got to look out for the aspect of that. And to the candidates, I just want to wish you all the luck in the world. You're gonna have an eye opener. What you thought was one thing can be something different, and what you thought was something is gonna be something else. So just hold on. It's gonna be exciting. And thank you all very much for coming out to that full house. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I appreciate everybody coming, and boy, do we have a lot going on. I don't know how many people were Sunday at the Passage Park. We had a craft show there, and also had live music. It was great. And we're going to have it again this weekend. So this Sunday, prepare to come down and see what's going on. There's a lot going on with the businesses. We have the craft show there on Thursday, the farmers market on Tuesday, and now we have the thing going on Third Avenue. We're trying to bring our businesses into this, and we have our fall festival coming on October 3rd. I heard that there is a whole bunch of people going to be there, and our businesses will be represented on that. So, thank you for coming, and I appreciate everybody that's running for council. I hope you know what you're getting into, but it's going to be a good ride. So we will see you all if we go into executive session. You all are welcome to wait until we come back, and have a good evening. So I need a motion on the executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we enter an executive session pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-470A1, pertaining to a discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, discipline, and/or release of an employee.
Do I have a second on that? Second. Any discussion before we go? Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Holder?
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Pellegrino? Yes. Drake? Yes, and myself. So, and I say yes, so that's 6-0 for us to go into executive session.
This conference will now be recorded.
Sherry, are we on? Okay, it's 9:10. This council meeting will come back to order. There are no motions or actions taken out of executive session. So,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
a second. All those in favor? This meeting is over.
So what happened to everybody that was out there?
Why don't you run everybody off?